All right, gang, we're going to go through these words now. We have our day 2 warm-up. So girls, we're going to be looking at quite a few things today. So one of them is the 1.5 or 1-5 day 2 warm-up. These words are super important, okay? So very important. 2 angles whose measure have a sum of 180. What's the word? 180. Mitchell, come on. 2 angles that add up to 180 are supplementary. So supplementary is the word that means they add up to 180. That's the 180 word. If they only add up to 90, they are complementary. So complementary is they add up to 90. So girls, we're on the 1.5 warm-up. Girls, I don't have any of your quizzes yet. I need you to send those to me right away. All right? I can't have you sharing them with other people. I need them sent to me right away. 2 angles whose sides are opposite rays. Now, Dana had a great point about this. 2 angles whose sides are opposite rays. So, this ray goes this way, that ray goes this way. What do those 2 rays make? A straight line? The very best answer for that is not even in the list, as Dana pointed out. That is a linear pair. So go ahead and add the word linear pair. Now, did anybody say supplementary? Perfect. They are indeed supplementary, because if they make a straight line, isn't a straight angle 180? Yeah. So that would be an acceptable answer too. But I want you to understand what a linear pair is. A linear pair is 2 angles side by side that make a straight line. Okay, that's what a linear pair is. 2 angles that share a side but do not overlap. What do we call them if they share a side, they're right next to each other? They're called adjacent. Yep, they're called adjacent. Beautiful. We're going to practice with these in a little bit. A ray that divides 1 angle into 2 angles with the same measure. So in other words, you got an angle, and a ray cuts it in half. What do we call that? Angle bisector. That's the angle bisector. Remember, bisect is a hugely important word in geometry. Bisect means cut in half, cut in 2 equal pieces. Perfect. If the measure of one angle in a pair of what kind of angles is n, the measure of the other angle is 180 minus n. That is kind of a tricky question, certainly harder than anything well, I'm not going to be your teacher, so I don't know. But, you see the word 180 in there? What do you think? 2 angles that have a 180 are probably supplementary. The word is supplementary. If one of them is 50, for example, the other one would be 180 minus 50. It would be 130. Supplementary. What kind of angles, look at your word bank, what kind of angles never share a side? Never share a side. That would be this one and this one. What do we call angles like that that are formed by an X? Vertical. Yep. So the answer to number 7 is vertical. And if they always share a side, adjacent, yep. Adjacent means next to. They share a side. How many of you have a fenced-in backyard? Okay. That fence is shared by you and your neighbor. It's adjacent to you and your neighbor. Draw the angle bisector for each angle. Did you do that? Were you able to do that? What do we mean by angle bisector? It's right in the middle. So here's your angle. So your angle bisector would look something like that. Cuts it right in half. And then this one, your angle looks like this. So there it is, cuts it right in half. Yes?
What was number 6?
Supplementary. Or supplementary angles. But supplementary is the key. All right, which of the pair are vertical angles? A, let me see, GBA, CBJ, perfect. A is the right answer. How many of you got A all by yourselves? That's awesome. Vertical angles are the ones that look like this. They are real important too. Which are supplementary. Now supplementary means if you put them together, you get a straight line. You get 180. So Patrick, what did you say?
I said H and I.
You said H. Let me start with H. A, B, M, and MBC. I'll go with that one. Now, those of you that are confused about that, here's line ABC, or line AC. Now, we're talking about angle ABM, so here's M. This angle and this angle, ABM and MBC, make this straight line. Don't get confused by all the other weird stuff in the problem. This is all you're focused on for answer H. What did you say your other one was? I, A, B, M. Oh, yeah. They're the same. Okay, so that's an answer too. They're the same thing. All right? Let's do a little more practice with our angles. Okay? So girls, we're now moving on to 1-5, day 2 in class. So feel free to do it in Notability if you want. It's 1.5, day 2 in class practice. 1.5, day 2 in class practice. I know you have to read the screen to do Notability, and that's fine if it's easier for you to do it that way. 1-5, day 2 in class practice. All right, so here we go. We're doing the in-class practice, and we're going to identify each pair of angles. Now, you're only looking at the numbered pairs, okay? So in number 1, you are talking, you're going to label just 1 and 2. So our 1 and 2, adjacent, vertical, complementary, supplementary, or a linear pair. Carson, what do you think?
Linear?
A linear pair? Now do 1 and 2, just 1 and 2, make a straight line. No. Carson, you see how 1 goes up like this and 2, they don't make a straight line. But what about 1 and 2? Aren't they what? Adjacent. They're next to each other. Scout, did you not get one?
Sorry, thank you.
I don't know what my problem is. I see that.
Oh no, you're good. I had it posted up. It's kind of hard.
Okay. All right, so 1 and 2 are adjacent. What about 3 and 4?
Oh,
Vertical. 3 and 4 are vertical. That number 2 is vertical. Look at that picture. That's what vertical angles look like. What about 5 and 6, Carson? Well, it sort of looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Carson, if it were an angle bisector, that's not an option, you're right. But if it were, those would be marked congruent. And they're not. So what can you tell me about 5 and 6? They're adjacent. They're right next to each other. Using just the words that we've been given, that's an adjacent set. Now, Carson, look at number 4. See how 7 and 8 make a straight line? So they are a linear pair. I want everybody to look at problem number 4. Everybody look at number 4. That is a linear pair. See how they make that straight line? Okay. What about 9 and 10? Jacob?
Complementary?
Well, they would be complementary if we saw this symbol in there anywhere. Do we see the right angle symbol anywhere? No. So we can't assume that they're complementary. They could be, they look like they might be, but we can't assume that. So what are they? They're adjacent. Yeah. Mrs. Ford, we keep saying adjacent. Yeah, we do. Yeah, they're adjacent. Watch it. 11 and 12. Scout?
What's 3?
3 is adjacent.
Uh-oh.
Now look carefully at 11 and 12, Carson. What do you think, Carson?
Can it be 2? Complementary?
No. Complementary, you gotta have a 90 showing up somewhere if they're gonna be complementary. Declan? They're a linear pair. Guys, look at 11 and 12. Don't look at the rest of the picture. Look at just 11 and 12. Don't they make a straight line? That's a linear pair. Number 7. Vertical. Vertical. Now, number 8, I kind of lied to you. I don't see the right angle symbol, but what happens when you add 35 and 55? You get 90. So those two angles in number 8 are complementary. Does that make sense to you? Scout?
I'm so sorry. What page are we on?
Oh, I might have given you the wrong thing.
Well, I am on that, but it's just, it says names too.
Yeah, I don't know where all these are coming from. We just did this one.
Okay.
We just did number 8.
But you said 11 and 12, and
No,
it says
11
The
and
numbers
12.
on the angles.
Angles numbers.
Oh.
11 and 12. So these are all wrong, okay? All those are wrong. Okay, everything you wrote up here is wrong. Okay? So we'll get you the right answers in a minute, but let's start with number 9. Scout, we're starting with problem number 9.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
The angles are 40 and 140. What happens when you add 40 and 140? Carson? Well, you get 180. And when two angles add up to 180, they're called what? Supplementary, that's right. So the answer to number 9 is supplementary. Okay, so Scout needs some corrections. Who is willing, just read the answers. Okay, Carson, start with number 1.
1 adjacent,
Yep.
2 vertical, 3 adjacent, 4 linear pair, 5 adjacent, 6 linear pair, 7 vertical, 8 complementary, and 9 supplementary.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're all up to snuff, right? We're all where we need to be. Okay, so now we've got a picture. We have 2 lines coming like that, one coming like this, one coming like that. All right, so we have E, F, G, A, B, C, D. All right, name 2 vertical acute angles. Now, vertical angles are formed when lines lines cross each other. So when you look at this, you guys, you gotta find lines that are crossing. I only see two lines in the problem. These two right here. Would you agree with me? There's some rays in there, but those are the only two lines. So name two acute vertical angles. Wouldn't they be these two right here? Yes. So I hope you said angle FGE and angle CGD. Is that okay with everybody? Now in this problem, you can't say angle G because there are too many angles here at G. So you need to say three letters. You want this angle right here, EGF or FGE, and this one, CGD or DGC. Does that make sense? Girls, if you have a question, you need to yell loud. We got some drilling going on somewhere close by. All right, so that's number 10. Now, number 11 talks about vertical angles, again, which means they have to be formed by these intersecting lines. If these are the acute ones, then wouldn't this and this be the obtuse ones? Let me get this out of the picture, and that might help. Can you see it now? So those obtuse angles would be FGC and EGD. So if your job is to find vertical angles, you're going to look for lines crossing. Whole lines. Not rays jutting out, but whole lines crossing. All right. Oh gosh, there's tons of these. Name a pair of adjacent angles. Okay, there are lots of them. So, I don't know. Give me a pair. Anybody see adjacent angles? There's tons of them. So, how about AGB? So angle AGB. What is he adjacent to? BGC? There are lots of answers though, you guys. So does anybody have a different idea you want to talk about? Eric? I can't hear you, honey. Talk loud. AGF, so angle AGF right here. Okay, and what's your second one? FGE, perfect. Yep. Eric says I want to talk about this angle and this angle. Perfect. Lots of adjacent sets in there. Name a linear pair. Okay, linear pair means makes a line, right? So focus your beady little eyes on either this line or this line. And name two angles that make that line. Bryson, what'd you say?
I said FGD. FGD.
Okay, now FGD would be the whole line. We need to find, FGD is a great line, but pick one of the angles. So if you pick this one, it would be FGA and then AGD. Okay? But you could have picked this one, Bryson, so it would be FGB and BGB. Here's the line, so he's zeroing in on the line. I'm going to pick an angle, so if you pick A, that's fine. Get rid of everything else. Look at just the top of this picture. It would be FGA and AGD. Those two make the whole line. When you put them together, you get the line. That's a linear pair. a pair of complementary angles, well, what looks like it might be complementary, Carson? AGC. Okay, let's talk about that. You're right, let's talk about that. It looks like AGC is a right angle. It looks like it's 90 degrees. What two angles add up to that, Carson? AGB and BGC. When you say complementary, there are two of them that add up to make the 90. So if that looks like 90 to you, it's not marked. It looks like 90 to me. I can live with that. AGB and BGC. You need two angles to be complementary or supplementary. FGE. All right, here is FGE right here. This angle right here is FGE. It is part of, is this a line? I can't tell. Is EGC a line? Yeah. It is part of this line and this line. So I'm going to go ahead and erase all this stuff up here at the top. Name an angle that's a linear pair with this guy. Wouldn't it be this guy? That's EGD. It's a little tricky. I know. You'll get the hang of it. Supplementary. All right. So turn it over. We're going to do a few on the back. While you're getting it turned over and you're thinking about some stuff, I'm getting kind of sad because our days are numbered, so I need you a treat. I know.
I used to bite myself.
Thank you, Mrs. Ford. You're so welcome.
Hurry up, girls. You need to come right back. Did everybody get one? Who wanted one? DJ, did you get brownie yet? Everybody got one? Okay, now let's get back to the geometry. Thank you for your help, Ashley. Let's get back to the geometry. All right, let's get down. Everybody, down to number 7. We're going to do some of these that have some numbers in them now. So we're down to number 7. And it says, the picture looks like this. Here's 1, here's 2. But we know this one is 57. Can we figure out how big this one is?
Yes.
How can we do that?
Subtract it from 180.
Subtract it from 180. Why is Declan subtracting from 180? Because these are a linear pair, right? And linear pairs are 180. So this one would be, what is that, 100 and 23? All right, next one. What kind of angles are these? 1 and 2 are what kind of angles? Vertical. And what do we know about vertical angles? They're always congruent. They're the same. So the minute they tell me that this one's 38, I know that one's 38. Eddie, what are you doing? Need you to pay attention, sweetheart. I know it's hard with all the racket, but we gotta do it. All right, number 9. Now, there's a lot going on in this problem. They tell me that this one's 22. And what do they tell me about this one? What does that
90
mean?
degrees.
That's 90.
That means the other side.
So that means this whole thing is 90, which means that one is what? 68? Now I want to make sure that makes sense to everybody. If this side is 90, then so is this side. So since these together make 90, and I know that one's 22, if I subtracted right, that one's got to be 68. All right. Picture's not very good, but look at number 10. What do you think about the measure of angle 2?
The same.
So it would be 65? 65, it's the same? Vertical? All right, look at number 11. If 2 is 67, how big would 1 be? 113. Why? It's a linear pair, and linear pairs add up to 180. Always, guys, always. Linear pairs add up to 180. All right, take a look at the picture in number 12. What do you notice about 3 and 4? They got equal 90. Everybody got that? See how the other side's 90? So 3 and 4 have to be 90.
42.
And it would be 52? Wouldn't it be 52?
Yeah.
You got it? All right, let's do one of these ones with letters. And then I'll give you your homework and you can get started on it, okay? So, here we go. This is 13 and this is 14. And we are told, actually I'm going to take those out. We're told that 13 is 4x plus 11 and 14 is 3x plus 1. Right? Now, you need, every time there's x's like this, you need an equation. So tell me what kind of equation we could come up with, Addison.
4x plus 11 plus 3x plus 1 equals 180.
Oh my God. Perfect. How do we know they add up to 180? They make a linear pair. They make a straight line. So 7x plus 12 equals 180. Combining like terms. 7x equals 168 if I subtract 12. And you can use a calculator to help you. And then what's 168 divided by 7?
24.
In Syria, their x is 24. Now, this is a trick question. The directions say find the measure of the angles. So now we got to go back and put 24 in here. So what's 4 times 24? 96. Plus 11 is 107 for that one. And then put 24 in here. should be 73. Or subtract from 180, yep. All right, as usual, even with a long period, we didn't have enough time. Let me give you your homework so you can get started on that. The homework is the 1.5 day 2, girls. The 1-5 day 2 homework. Yes. Are we in the morning right now? I'm so messed up. I know I have you tomorrow. I just don't know when it is. First thing in the morning. All right, so we have class tomorrow, apparently first thing in the morning. Did I already give you your homework?
Yeah.
All right, this is a very long homework. So I'm gonna ask you to do only the odds, okay? Only the odds, because it's a pretty long assignment. You've had a very long day already. All right, well, you got class in the morning first, okay? So do the odds. So all of the odd problems. That's your assignment, okay? Girls, did you hear me say that? We're only assigning the odds because this is such a long assignment. So the 1-5 day 2, it's actually 2 pages. Just do the odd problems. All right, let's get started. I don't know how much time we have. Throw your brownie napkins away, and I'm going to come around and give you a cleaning napkin. Okay, our trash is full and we're kind of missing, so let's make sure we get it in there. It's an emergency, or we need 2 of them now, so why don't you start on the homework?
I said maybe.
I think we literally only have 8 more minutes of school. All right, so we're working on our homework, guys. Everybody's working on the homework.